the penalty conceded. And we run into injury time in this first half, and actually headbutted Simon Shaw there. Such was his desperation to escape the flailing arms and body of Brian Lima coming through there. Well, he made the escape, and now Loki Crichton with by far his trickiest opportunity to date. This one just inside the 10-yard line. 3 from 3. He's looked good, but I'm not sure whether his kicking style's got the legs to put this one right the way over. He'll definitely get it on target. Might end up hooking it, just putting that little bit of extra effort in. We'll see. Well, he makes me go quiet very, very quickly. So, the half-time score here at the Stade de la Beaujoire in Nantes is an 11-point lead to England. They are currently winning this one by 23 points to 12.
Samoa managing to stay in touch with those 2 penalty goals towards the end of the half. We'll be back after this break to have a look at that first half with our experts. Holy haka, Batman. Yes, I suspect Batman and Robin and the Bobby were English fans. Great colour in Nantes as the players come back out onto the field. And we'll resume commentary. Rupert pointed to that traditional fade in the second half, or the last quarter of the game for Samoa. Can they change that trend? We'll find out. David Soul and Jonathan Hayes-Bass will join us now.
Well, the side's back out here for the second half of the Stade de la Beaujoire. So far, this has been a happy hunting ground for the English team. It remains to be seen whether the Samoans can just, if they can get more possession in this second half, then absolutely anything is definitely possible. They trail by 11. Brian Ashton will still feel that there are a few more hairs that could fall out that head before the end of the game. But as we get it back underway with Loki Crichton, he goes deep, and real indecision from Gomersall. He's been very lucky to get away with that. He feels the full force of the Samoan defence as England pick and drive, and basic errors once again creeping into the English game, and this gives the Samoans a superb attacking platform early on.
Well, not a good start by Gomersall. I think they, his forwards won't thank him for that. They'd have wanted him to give it to Johnny Wilkinson, who might drill it 50 yards down the park. But instead, they've got a scrum in a very good attacking position for Samoa.
Samoans need to stay strong in the set piece, which they have done on this occasion. Polly breaks. They've got Henry Tuilangi coming round, and he breaks through the gain line, and immediately options out wide. Ball goes forward, but it's a penalty conceded by England.
Well, it was lazy running by Johnny Wilkinson there. It was very obvious. Junior Pollard trying to get the ball away quickly from that good Henry Tuilangi drive. Look at the disbelief on Martin Corrie's face. Oh bother, he said, I think, if I read his lips correctly.
Yeah, well, being a professional at lip reading you are, David, I think you're absolutely spot on. But the situation we find ourselves in here is that, I mean, they're going to take the 3 points, but it's almost disappointing for the Samoans, because I think they would have fancied their chances there. However, a very positive start for them. Get the 3 points here. It's back to within 8. And Henry Tuilangi, well, he's just... That's how they've got to use him, and he's crashed through, and 4 English players taken with that one, and then the lazy running of Johnny Wilkinson, as you say, clear for everyone to see there. And Loki Crichton with a very simple chance to just slot it over. So 23-15, the Samoans have been the ones who've kept the scoreboard ticking over. 23-6 until 5 minutes before the break, and the Samoans have now scored 9 unanswered points. England, well, it's just that nagging doubt that's going to creep into them. It's whether they've got the self-belief. I mean, they've got very few players out there now who actually do have the belief in winning the games. This player, of course, being one of them. But he's been out for so long, you just wonder what sort of state his self-confidence is in himself. He's had quite a start. That is a smashing hit. And the Samoans thought they were away for a second. I don't know what the referee's bringing this back for. Is it offside?
I think it would be the challenge on Johnny Wilkinson there.
Put him straight in the bin.
Just get it lower. That's all. Lower. That's it. Okay?
No. Well, Brian Lima just gets a warning.
Lower.
Well, this is exactly the sort of challenge that A, Brian Lima's famous for, but also B, that Michael Jones was talking about coming in, and oh yeah, it's quite high. In defence of Johnny Wilkinson, I can see why he was a bit disappointed there.
Well, they talk about Brian Lima's timing of the tackle, and the timing of the tackle was absolutely perfect. He hit Johnny Wilkinson perfectly. I think if he had been 6 inches lower, there'd be no question about that being a fair tackle. But that's his trademark, Brian Lima. It was, Johnny Wilkinson probably think he'd be taking up hockey rather than playing rugby, and if he gets a few more hits like that. But the crowd don't like it.
Well, they don't like the fact that England are going for goal as well. It'd be interesting to see whether, I mean, Johnny Wilkinson's taken a ferocious amount of hits. One just has to think back to the '99 World Cup when the Tongans targeted him. And he's been, I mean, a targeted player by everyone around the world ever since. Is he seeing straight is the question. Slightly, it did mean that it went into his head rather than into the chest. Still, the Samoans need to adapt with the times and the way the game is going, and that is the way the game's going. England getting a rare rumble on. Gomersall tries the box kick to bring Saki into play. To Ilangi. England getting a rare rumble on. Gomersall tries the box kick to bring Saki into play. To Ilangi comes in. Well taken, and Polly to Lima. The Samoans look to counter. Just a little nudge forward, and that could be a very clever kick if it gets the bounce. Doesn't get the bounce wanted. And it's Ollie Barkley with a very rare touch on the ball. Doesn't find touch though. And Tuilangi building up ahead of steam. Alisana coming off his wing on this occasion. Brian Lima goes in to make sure that the English can't turn over the ball. It's a long pass into the middle. Well picked up by Kane Thompson. But the Samoans are going backwards there. Now Polly looks to put some pressure on Josh Lucy, who hasn't really been tested so far since his return to fullback, but his kicking has been atrocious despite the fact that he hasn't had any pressure put on him. Lovely little kick forward, great hands as well, out wide here to Schvalga. Kicked inside, it's a chase for the line for Polo, can he make it? Well, they'll go to the TMO, I am sure. Well, Davis.
Well, I think Polo was in front of the kicker there. I think he was offside, and I'd be interested to see the replay on it, but very hard to tell whether he scored the try or not.
But they can't call back on that, can they?
No, they can't call back on that.
So this is literally a chase for the line, and it looked to me as though, well, as you can see clearly from that angle, nothing at all. But that doesn't look as though anyone's got any downward pressure on it at all.
I think he's missed it though. We may see from there Matthew Tate obviously chasing back.
Well, we've seen stranger ones given. The one that always I remember is a Welsh one against England when the Welsh beat England at the Arms Park to prevent them winning the Grand Slam, where the ball must have been about a yard off the ground when it bounced off. That's downward pressure. Wow. It could be given.
I think he's made a decision. I think he's going to give it a try there.
Well, it certainly makes the game more interesting.
Yes, okay, take your time.
And now he's having another look at it. Tolson, if you can hear us down there on touch, I don't know whether you got a good view of that.
I didn't get any view of that whatsoever. I think you guys, with those replays, would have a much better view than I have. But looking at it from the angle, as we're seeing from the far side of the pitch, you'd have to say that he's put his hand on the ball. We can see the angle coming up here. And Polu, it looks like his right hand has got downward pressure, and any benefit of the doubt, I think that they scored the try there.
Yes,
is that any benefit of the doubt that goes against England?
Try has been scored.
It's a try has been given. Well, I can imagine the English fans are not going to be very happy about that, and I should imagine that Brian Ashton probably isn't going to be very happy about that. But for me, it's certainly the best thing that could happen in the game. I think that's wonderful. In my impartial position, however, I will have to say that, well, it's like anything at all. It's like penalties, it's like penalty tries, it's like tries that are given sometimes, tries that aren't given. I remember Ali Hogg scoring a perfectly good try against the French at the Stade de France a few years ago, which was given in touch, and just these examples. It's one of the things that even with a TMO that you can't legislate against human error or humans getting it right, and it's gone with the attacking side as it should do. Well, is it going to be another classic England performance that is saved by the boot of Johnny Wilkinson? It remains to be seen. At the moment, just 4 points between the two sides. Shooter picks it up. Wilkinson. England have an opportunity out here, out wide. Cueto. Well, a little confidence shown by Cueto there. The gap wasn't that small. You'd expect a winger to have gone for it, even if he was going to be driven into touch.
Absolutely, but I think it's indicative of lack of confidence, and Matthew Tate as well.
Possibly. Well, I think Tate wanted to give him the chance of a run-in, but he could have delayed his pass a little more, drawn the tackler in. But as it is, England still will be confident they can convert something here, because they got an attacking line out and they have managed to get the drive going from this position. They're not going to on this occasion, but is it going to be a pick and go? Well, then Corrie waits at the back. Barnsley doesn't look that interested in having it. It is a pick and go from the English, but once again momentum goes. Too static once again through the forwards, but they've managed to soak in a few Samoan defenders. Get it out sharp and wide here. Cover tackling excellent from the Samoan defence on that occasion, but they're going to need to stay there. Back inside to Easter. And the penalty given away, and the Samoans rewarded for some really good hits in defence, and England punished for this very slow ball that they continually seem to be hampered by and have been for so long now.
And that time it was just Simon Shaw who just got isolated, and but again indicative that England aren't aggressive, they're not fast enough at the breakdown, they're not clearing away the Samoan defenders and recycling the ball quickly.
But the classic example is that someone like Henry Tuilagi, even when he does burst through the tackles, he's being given a 2 or 3 pace head start to build up some momentum. The English forwards, when they get in the line, they're taking it flat, they're taking it static, so they then have to start again. And it's never worked in world rugby, but it's working even less now that the English players just aren't, they're not tier 1 players, in my opinion, at the moment. They're not good enough, so they need to create some luck for themselves, and they're just not doing it. Alan Lewis saying a few words there. We've got one of the Samoan props here, Census Johnson, down.
Okay. Yeah, he's okay. Happy now? Turn on. That's good, I'm the line, yeah.
it's going to be very, very interesting, because the crowd have burst into one of the familiar Mexican waves, employed slightly differently to when it originated in Mexico '86, for when there was a pause in play or something, just the passage of football was being particularly boring. In France, it seems to be adapted to just get the crowd going, as it were.